Yep, I'm hitting it now.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Fromer. I believe in hunting hard, hunting smart, and having a fun time while doing it. And shooting limits, well, that's just the icing on the cake. I revel in the journey just as much as the successes it brings. From ducks to dogs to decoys and guns, we'll be talking tactics, strategies, and what it takes to get the job done. Load up and take aim. This is the Duck Gun Podcast. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Duck Gun Chronicles, got my co-host Elliott, Graybeard from Freelance Duck Hunting, and we're joined today by Gator Waders. How you guys doing?
Good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Y'all doing all right?
Pretty good. Season's coming close here. I'm not sure where you guys are at, how long you guys have, but I think we're something like 12 days out or so, something like that.
Yeah. We got about like another 15 days, 18 days until early teal, where we get a little taste of it, and then sit around and wait again till big duck season for Texas.
Yeah, we're the same. We got 18 days till season. Then we also have early resident goose hunt as well.
So, yeah, we got the same.
Nice.
We are so blessed in this state because we're cut up into 4 zones. So once early teal starts, there's only, I think, 2 weekends from there until the end of January that you can't duck hunt in the state. So, I mean, it's a long, and then you can still goose hunt into February and then snow goose hunt after that. So you can go from September to the end of March, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got a month and a half break in there where we can't chase them at all. But once November hits, it's game on to the end of February till conservation season's over for sure.
That's it.
That's awesome. So why don't you go ahead and let the people know a little bit about who you are or what your names are, and yeah, just go from there.
You want to kick it off?
Yep. So I'm Jason Bettis. I'm the marketing / creative director here at Gator Waders. This is Corey.
Yeah, I'm Corey. I just came on with Gator Waders in the position of the hunt director and COO. So I'm basically running the hunting division now, doing the expos, dealing with all the outfitters and that kind of stuff. And then we go to Jason and tell him, hey, work your magic and make it look cool. And he does it.
Awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun, a lot of work, and we really appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
So I'm curious about the history of the company a little bit. Can you just give a little background, like when it was created and the progression?
Absolutely. So company, it began about 8.5 years ago, roughly, give or take a few months. It started off in the mud riding industry. It sounds a little silly, but definitely here in Texas and Louisiana, mud riding is huge. So it started off just making some flashy, comfortable neoprene waders for women and women specifically. It was a niche market that was completely untouched. And so Justin Waller, the owner, he found a need and he fulfilled. So started off making a few pair of women's waders and zebra print and, flashy colors, stuff like that. And honestly, it took off from there. And one of the biggest features about Gator Waders that helps us stand out from the rest is our sizing, the sizing and the fit of the waders themselves. And that stems from our origins, starting in just doing women's products. So the sizing, obviously women are a little bit more picky as far as their fit. Men will throw on just about anything, but women were a little bit more particular about how things fit. So it was just one of those things where we put a lot of timing into our sizing, the fit, from the shoe size, the height, the waist size, the bust size, all this stuff. And with so much attention to the detail of the sizing, came, construction issues and stuff like that we nailed down. So the first 2 years only doing women's waders, we really got to appreciate how well a good fit wader works in the field, because if you have a wader that fits you well, then you eliminate a lot of the issues that that can stem into warranty claims and stuff like that. So it's just once we nailed down the sizing, we rolled those same sizing principles into our men's product line. Obviously, men wanted it. We had men early on squeezing into the women's zebra print just because they liked our product. So it turned out really well, and guys really they took on it took off like crazy. So we started adding the flashy colors, and as you can tell, lime green is kind of a thing for us. So started off doing some lime green ones, and then we got into camouflage, and from there the hunters, there is a slight overlap in the industries. So there's a lot of hunters that mud ride as well down here. So a lot of the hunters, they would wear our product, and they started recognizing the quality, the comfort, the quality, and the overall construction of the wader. And I mean, honestly, if guys blasting through the woods on 4-wheelers and side by sides can't tear these things up, we figured we were onto something. So about 4 years into it, we got into the hunting industry, and the rest is history. We're not slowing down from here. Just continue to grow and continue to innovate, and mainly, like I said, comfort and quality is our key. That's our driving principles.
Awesome. I was gonna say, I was on your website here recently, and I'm disappointed to say that you guys don't have the zebra print anymore for the hunting. And
I think we still got one pair hanging up in the front office as a display because we wanted to make sure we remembered where we came from.
That's it.
Jordan,
awesome.
you'd look great in those. They're skin tight.
I mean, I've heard that with lions hunting zebras that it's kind of like a camouflage or something. I don't know what it is, but maybe it'll work on ducks too. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So what have you guys done at your company to make waders more durable? I know that I've heard it before, and I've said it before, that, and I've never worn a pair of your waders, typically Cabela's, and just like the standard is that waders are kind of the weak link of waterfowl communities, and everyone's complaining about them. What makes yours a little more durable than maybe some of the average ones?
I would say to start with the testing process that we put our waders through. I mean, after our team sits down and we develop a wader, Jason gets some design. We go and we look at all aspects of it, because the main thing for the mud riding guys when we started off was, I wanted our waders so they could stay dry. They wanted them so they could be tough, getting in and out of stuff, jumping off a 4-wheeler, jumping on, blowing through the woods. I mean, that's brutal on a piece of equipment. So we made functionality the number one key. Once we get them developed, we test them for close to a year and a half, 2 seasons basically. And then from there, it's just continuing to innovate every single season. I mean, we went from Neoprene, and then we started in on the breathable thing, and we made our breathable sets. And then we were just like, well, how can we make these better? And, we make a better wader. And, just like with any success, there's failure along the ways, but our failures come when we're testing them, not when we're pushing out an inferior product.
Mm-hmm.
So
do most of those
I'm sorry.
Do most of those mud guys use the Neoprene, or are they using the breathable ones?
Well, Neoprene was, the whole start of the company was based around Neoprene waders. It was just mud riding is big in the wintertime. Neoprene was always it was the warmest product out there. So that was always, and still is, the recommended for the mud riding. But we even got into breathables into our off-road division as well, for summertime riding and stuff. We have our Swamp series. It's our summertime breathable waders, which we're just about to release, the Swamp 2.0s. Those are fantastic for mud riding and fishing as well. But to go back one point to answer your question about what makes ours a little bit more durable is it goes back to sizing. So the crotch is one of the most vulnerable spots on a wader, hands down. That's where 90% of the people that talk to that has problems with their waders, it stems around the crotch or the legs or somewhere around there. So that was a task that we took on head on. We put a lot of time into the sizing and the fit, because again, it goes back to, if a wader fits you properly, you're not putting a lot of strain in unnecessary areas. So our sizing goes by your shoe size, your height, and your jean size. So it's a little bit more of a custom fit, whether you're tall and skinny with a really big foot, or short and fat with a little foot. I mean, we got everything in between. So it's a little bit more of a, like I said, a little bit more of a custom fit. So by having a better fit, it's a close fit to your body, so you're not straining that crotch when you squat down. You're not putting a lot of strain on your knees or your shoulders, or the stitching and stuff like that. So that helps with the longevity of the product as well.
I'm so glad you brought up the crotch area. I've lost so many pairs of waders to what I assume is the seams in the crotch. So is that why they leak? It's because they're not fit properly, and as you bend, it just puts strain on the crotch seams
That's
and they pull apart.
So as you step into the boat or stepping over a log or walking through, the marsh or something like that, as you're walking and you lift your leg and you have 6 inches of baggy material, in between your legs, you're putting a lot of strain there. So you think you're exposing these waders to the most extreme conditions, the cold temperatures, the water, the ice, sliding down the side of a hill and stuff like that, straddling the edge of your boat. I mean, you're putting these things through the ringer, so if you're exposing this material to those kind of temperatures and those kind of conditions on top of a lot of strain. I mean, you think the average man, 200 pounds, stepping into a boat or stepping over a log, putting a lot of pull against those steams after being exposed to those temperatures for, half a season. I mean, eventually it's going to start failing. So what we did is we kind of revamped the construction of the wader so it fits a little bit closer to your body, so that you have that full range mobility. I mean, I'm anything but the most limber guy, but just to prove to one of our customers, he was an older guy. He was not very flexible. He was questioning the mobility, and sure enough, I told him, I said, well, you could do a cartwheel in it. He said, I don't believe you. So sure enough, yeah, I threw him on, and it was not the most graceful cartwheel, but I didn't break anything, and the waders did exactly what they were supposed to do. So
awesome.
There's
so would
no
you say that
I'm sorry, I can't prove that right now.
So would you say that your breathable ones are just as durable as the neoprene?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that is kind of an opposite with the breathables. They don't have the stretch that neoprene gets or gets taken into. So we built in a longer inseam so that stretch and that tension isn't put on those seams like that. So when you are stepping up above a boat line out of 1.5 feet of water, you don't get that stretch in there. It's already built into those waders. So it's just like wearing a set of pants. They just move with your body.
Awesome.
That's such a great conversation. I go through about a pair of waders a year. And a lot of times I went through so many of Cabela's, I think that I single-handedly made them change their policy for returns.
That lifetime ain't there anymore, is it?
No, I think it's because of me. And then I went over to Rogers and I burned through like 2 or 3 of those pair because of inseams. And then finally I burnt a hole in the first day I had a pair of waders out. I burnt a hole in them in the fire. And I was like, well, I can't really take these back, but
Right.
it's about a pair a year. So I've decided my goal was to go just super cheap breathables, because I'm like, if I'm going to burn through a pair a year, I mean, I might as well not be spending $350, but so it's really, really great for me personally to hear some answers as to why so many of these inseam leaks are taking place. Cause I knew it always leaked there. I never knew why.
Yeah, and we've taken it a step further. I mean, traditionally, waders have always been, they're stitched together just like any other, article of clothing, and then they're just glued. Well, that glue over time, is going to wear because it's exposed to the inside of your pants. So we changed it up a little bit and actually went to a tape seam, which is what they use in other outdoor industries to make stuff watertight and water sealed. So not only do you have the stitching and the glue, but on top of that, we have tape seal that it just creates a bond, and you're not rubbing directly into what is creating that seal between you and the elements.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
we did that probably 3 years ago on our breathables. And the more and more waders you look at, everybody's going to that now because it's a superior product.
Yeah. I'd even gone to like sealing my seams when I got a new pair. I would get that goop and just go ahead and go over them,
Yep.
just like And still sometimes it's like 6, 7, 8 hunts down the road. I'm like, well, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Still. So that's
Well,
really exciting to hear.
it's one of those things we put ourselves out there. We go to a lot of these expos and everything just to help people understand why. Because I mean, obviously, people look at our waders, they look at competitors' waders, breathable waders are breathable waders and all that. But I mean, the biggest thing I challenge anyone out there that's listening to at least try them on. Because if you put them on, it's night and day. Especially those who are used to neoprene waders. I mean, your traditional hunters who feel that neoprene's the way to go. Our breathable waders come in uninsulated or insulated, but the insulated comes with it's a thermal cotton insulation, so it's quilted. It's almost like a sleeping bag on the inside. So those are fantastic because they don't generate a lot of heat like neoprene. Like neoprene will trap the temperatures. So I mean, if you only hunt in extreme conditions, then neoprene's not a bad thing. For me, I sweat just putting my waders on, so neoprene, I mean, if you have any kind of a long trek, out into the timbers or anything like that, and you work up a little bit of a sweat, that sweat's going to puddle up in your boot, and then you're standing there in ice cold water. So that sweat eventually gets cold. So a lot of people think, oh no, my waders are leaking. Sometimes it's mistaken for sweat, but the breathables, they're fantastic. I mean, we hunted in -4 degree temperature in Arkansas, and it's standing in the timbers for hours, chest deep, and these things held up fantastic. They were extremely warm, but teal season, when it's still pretty toasty outside, you can wear them with light layers underneath and not break a sweat, or not a heavy sweat at least. I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty toasty, but at least here in Texas. But
yeah, I'm very interested.
It's a more versatile wader.
I'm very interested about your insulated one. I saw that on your website. Could you go into a little bit more detail about your insulated breathable ones?
Absolutely. So like I said, it's the thermal cotton insulation. So it's lighter. It goes on so much easier. Neoprene can, especially if you're in colder conditions, neoprene can stiffen up. It can be really tough to get on and off. I mean, it's a workout just getting your waders on and off. But the breathables, man, it's a world of difference. Just sliding them on and off. I mean, I think we timed an older guy, just getting in at him. I think it took him 7.5 seconds to get into it and about 5.5 to get out of it. So I mean, they slip on and off so easy. The insulated come with a 1,600 gram ultra thin slate boot. The boots, we try to form the boots to fit more like a tennis shoe, so it's a little bit more of a comfortable fit in the boot, with the heavier insulation for the colder temps, obviously, and then with the thermal cotton insulation. I mean, like I said, it has a very versatile conditions. I mean, you can hunt in some of the most extreme cold conditions, or up to or upwards to about 70 degrees or so, I would say.
And the big thing too is, I mean, we were talking before we went live, you're talking about hunting in Kansas and in Texas where we've got some public land. I mean, you trek in through neoprene, it doesn't matter how cold you are, you're sweating. That's a workout. That's carrying, if you're running 5 mils with fleece on them and, 1,600 gram boots, I mean, that's 15, 18 pounds you're carrying around, and you don't even have any of your gear yet.
Yeah.
The breathable waders that are, even the insulated ones, the heaviest piece on them is the boot. They probably weigh 6, 7 pounds for the entire wader. So if you make it more comfortable and more functional, it's a win-win every day. And if I can walk further and get to where the next guy's not going, everybody knows you're going to kill more ducks if you go where the guys can't get to or where they're not willing to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll say your breathables, other than use, look super cool. I was looking at them on the website. They're just cool looking.
Well, fake it till you make it, man.
If you don't shoot anything, you'll be looking good, for instance.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to our roots. I mean, we set out to create I wouldn't say fashionable, because I mean, obviously that's not our goal here, is to be fashionable. We want to be functional, and but obviously, we want something that looks good, that's functional, and comfortable. And I mean, the features themselves are fairly basic, but I mean, extremely functional. I mean, it has a fleece line hand warmer pockets on the front. You have a large pocket up on the chest with magnetic pocket flaps rather than the Velcro. The Velcro can get kind of loud out there, anytime you're trying to pull something in and out of your pocket. One of my favorite features is it's a neoprene padded elastic straps. Those are fantastic because you can cinch it up pretty tight, but when you go to bend down, you're not putting a lot of force right there on your shoulders and stuff like that. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, just full range mobility, extremely maneuverable. And then it's just comfortable. Once you put them on, I mean, you feel it's basically like a waterproof field bib.
Yeah, and all of our high traffic or wear points, your knees and your butt, they all are reinforced with Cordura as well. So you're basically wearing, like Jason was saying, you're wearing a bibs out there that are waterproof. I mean, I wore mine last year deer hunting when I knew it was going to be nasty weather, because even walking around, the bottom of your bibs get wet regardless if they're waterproof or not. Grass goes up inside of them, they get wet. My hunting waders last year, I threw them on and just threw my jacket over the top of them, climbed a tree, and sat outside in the rain all day and didn't have to worry about a thing.
That says a lot, because I can tell you I would not in a million years wear a pair of my super thick waders to do anything like that.
Yeah, I mean,
especially the colder it gets, they become like a coffin.
Right. And these things, with the breathability of them, traditionally, even in heavy duty hunting gear, you still start sweating because they're not breathable. They're just waterproof and well insulated. But now you've got both those features. So, I mean, you use it to do two things. You kill two birds with one stone. You don't spend as much money, so you're good.
Awesome. And to be honest with you, one of the first time we were field testing them, tried them on, got them all set up and everything. This was our first time several years ago making the breathable waders, and I put them on, and I probably worked 4 or 5 hours in the day just sitting in my waders at my desk, just because they were that comfortable. We keep our offices pretty chilly in here, so it was one of those things. It was so comfortable, and I didn't feel like taking it off. So
yeah, most of the time at the expos, we put our waders on. Time at the expo talking to people. So
there you go. Definitely sounds like a solid product for sure.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I guess right now would probably be a good chance. Or do you have something else to add before we jump into?
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, those who are on the fence about it, I mean, I challenge you just to do some research. I mean, Google Gator Waders, Google our Shield Series waders. I mean, the customer feedback itself, I mean, it speaks for itself. So, I mean, we get fantastic reviews. Everyone who wears them, I mean, it kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. Our repeat customers, people come back to us for more things other than waders, because I mean, their waders are still holding up. But everybody who has purchased them has been beyond themselves on how comfortable they are and how well they hold up. And I mean, we get on a daily basis, thank you letters. I'm so excited. These waders were so great. I mean, we have everyone from duck hunters to paleontologists and cranberry farmers who use our products, and everybody's just so excited because the way they fit. Women especially, women have such a hard time finding a pair of waders that fit them comfortably, and so every single girl that comes by when we're at the expos or at some of these events, they're always skeptical right at first. I'm just wearing my boyfriend's waders. So we always, not pressuring or anything, but we always suggest them to at least try it on just so they can see the fit and feel the difference. And 9 times out of 10, they walk out with them. So
yeah, we were at Buckmasters this weekend, and I don't think anyone that tried on a set of our waders didn't go away with that pair of waders in a box underneath their arm. I mean, and we tell everybody that when you get there, that's the first thing I say. What size shoe are you? You're a 10? Okay, let me get this 10. How tall are you? What do you weigh? And try it on, sit down. I don't mind unboxing these things, because you're not going to leave without the set of wader after you try it on.
Awesome. I guess right now is probably a good point to jump into the this or that. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So first question, something we've been going over here. So I think I already got your guys' answers figured out, but would you guys prefer neoprene or breathable waders?
Oh, breathable all day for me. All day.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I will never bash our neoprene waders because our shadow series and our throttle series and our retro series, I mean, they've all been fantastic. I mean, like I said, for your traditional hunter who swears by neoprene, I mean, we put as much detail and attention to the detail in our shadow series as well. So shadow series will always be a good. I mean, it's a good budget wader. I mean, it's a reasonably priced wader for for what you're getting for sure. I mean, it's a 5 millimeter abrasion resistant neoprene, so I mean, it's still a very sturdy wader and still extremely comfortable. Some of the same features in magnetic flat pockets. It's got an 800-gram thin slate boot. But I'm with Corey. I mean, after wearing breathables, it's hard to go back to neoprene. I mean, they're so versatile. They're lightweight. They're extremely comfortable. They just give you more mobility. So I need all the help I can get.
Elliott, what do you got on this one?
I've been wanting to make the change to breathable, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go with breathable, even though I haven't had a pair. Well, I've had a few pair of breathable just for teal season. That they were cheap ones, and I burned holes in those so fast. But I'm gonna make the switch to breathable, and these guys may have me sold and going with their product. I mean, they're really good sales.
You need to get in a set. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I may have to make that change. I'm gonna go breathable on this one.
I go breathable for fly fishing actually, and so I wear those hunting a lot, and I've gone neoprene last year as well. But one thing with the neoprene, when it gets super late, and kind of something we mentioned earlier, is the issue I have is it just freezes solid to the point where if you're just standing still, you can barely move.
Yeah.
And I've heard from people saying that they wear the breathables and just layer correctly late season. So I think I'd go breathable as well.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, I'm not concerned about them not being warm enough. You can layer. I mean, you can layer, and
that's one of the other things. I mean, you make a good point. Your neoprene, even though it's water resistant, is going to absorb water, and so that's why they get cold. That's why they get hard when they get below freezing. And so, the biggest thing I like about it too is I can take my breathable waders off and literally just give them a good shake and throw them in the back seat, and they're basically dry. I don't have to hang them up for the night, regardless of whether they get wet, and hope that the outside is dry the next morning and not frozen solid. I can put them in a barn or in the mud room, even if it's not heated or cooled, and the next morning they're bone dry.
Yeah.
Yep, and the vote on this was 55% for neoprene and 45% for breathable. And if you're just a listener of the podcast, you can find these polls in the Facebook group. We're starting to post those ahead of time, and then for live viewers, Elliott's posting the links for us right here.
Fellowship of the Duck Guns is the Facebook page. So those of you that listen, if you haven't come over and joined us yet, go ahead and do that. A lot of good conversations. And we have lots of polls that even never make it to the podcast. So come on over to Facebook and join us over there.
All right, next slide. This or that. So this is kind of a personal question for me, and everybody kind of went along with this. And you kind of touched on some of the things that I would say about wading boots, but the this or that on this one is boots connected or wading boots. And the reason I kind of brought up the wading boots is you see a lot of fly fishing type waders have the boot, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying, like when you're hiking out further, having that good fit. So something you guys have already touched on with your waders, because I know you guys don't actually have wading boots as far as like the neoprene foot going into a boot. So on this, what do you guys say for that?
Obviously, I mean, I'm pro boot foot wader. I mean but I mean, I can understand anybody going the other way, just because most wader companies, their waders are sized by your shoe size. So I know it can be a little bit of a headache for people shopping for waders, because he and I might wear the same size shoe, but we're not going to wear the same size wader, so that's a huge misconception in the industry, is everyone thinks for whatever reason, everybody with a size 12 shoe is going to wear the exact same size wader, but that could be further from the truth. I mean, we have guys 120 pounds, 6 foot with a size 14 shoe. And then, a guy that's, I don't know, 5'8", 240 pounds with a size 8 shoe, so it's a little bit of a misconception. So, but kind of goes back to our sizing with a proper fit. boot fit all day long.
Yeah, I would say boot fit. I started off guiding in Montana right after high school for fly fishing trips, and it was everybody wanted that stocking foot with a slip-on boot. And my biggest pain in the butt every day was drying my boot out so I could fish tomorrow. And I would hate, and that was in hard rocks. I would hate to have to fill that thing up with mud and grass and everything else I put it through duck hunting. So I'm boot fit all day long. I would never want a neoprene foot and tie on my waders my boot to my waders every day.
Elliott, what do you got on this?
Yeah, I wouldn't even think of getting wading boots.
Yeah, so I've done both, obviously, with just wearing my fly fishing waders. And I guess I'd say one big downfall of the boot is I think in colder weather, you don't get the same warmth that you would with your 1,600 gram Thinsulate boot. And then the kind of flaw that I would mention with that seems that you guys have that covered with your tennis shoe type fit on your boot. So, I mean, if that's the case on those, I'd have to say boot foot as well.
Yep.
20-0 is the vote. So
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect much different from hunters.
Tough crowd.
yeah, you're asking the wrong crowd on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slide 3. So, kind of one thing that one strategy a lot of people use with waders, considering how easy they are to puncture or how easy they are to stress the seams, is choosing between going with higher quality and expensive or going with the cheap wader. And it seems almost every company has kind of offerings in both. So, what would you guys say on this one?
Well, honestly, we really focus to that middle ground. I mean, we're not the cheapest wader company in the industry, but we're not the most expensive either. We basically we construct our products and we build our products and we offer them at a price that the average working man can afford. But we don't sacrifice any of the quality in the interim. So, I mean, we focused on every single little detail of the construction of the wader. But we try to keep that price point at a reasonable price point. I mean, some of these prices on these waders coming out these days are getting astronomical, but nobody wants to. I mean, you don't want to spend the same amount on your waders as you do a gun, but we also we try to keep that same quality to keep your waders lasting many seasons. So it's without it sounding too good to be true, we try to keep our price point affordable, but still keep that higher quality.
Yeah, we never want to drop it to a point to where you can't get the cheapest and the best quality in the same product. You can't ever achieve that. So we keep a price point that's fair to everybody, and we offer a superior product. So the old verbiage is you get what you pay for. If you're going to buy cheap stuff, it's going to tear up. Just be prepared to spend $100 every year, and some people are okay with that.
And what do you got on this one, Elliott?
Oh man, I don't know. My whole plan has been to go the whole cheap route because how much I go through them, but I really do like these breathable waders I'm looking at on their site right now, which are like $320. I mean, if I could pay $320 and get 3 years out of a pair of waders, I would be ecstatic.
Oh,
honestly. So I don't know. I may at some point. I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on a pair of these. So I'm gonna have to go with the not. I don't know what the other answer is. Not the expensive or not the cheap. Expensive. I wouldn't call those, like they said. I wouldn't the expensive. I mean, you can pay like $800-900 for some of these new waders coming out. So
yeah,
or more.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So like they're saying, it's kind of a price range. $300 for a pair of waders that you really consider to be nice, I think is completely reasonable.
Yeah. And I think I've definitely been going the cheap route here or there, just because just having the fear of spending the money on a product and having the same results as the cheap ones. But yeah, I'm along with Elliott. If you can get 3 years out of 300, then I'd be game for that as well.
Mm-hmm. I've never gotten 3 years out of a pair of waders without it some kind of leak.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
To this point. If I can go 3 or 4 years in you guys' waders and I will be singing the praises from a mountaintop. I can tell you, it's been such a frustration for me.
We look forward to it.
And for the listeners, the vote on this one for cheap was 54, and for expensive was 46. And next slide, kind of stepping away from the waders, jumping into a little bit of duck hunting. Question we kind of like to ask all of our guests, but do you guys prefer hunting ducks or geese?
Well, geese would be a new one for me. So obviously, I'm gonna have to look towards duck. But after this season, get back with me. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I like variety. I don't have a preference. I would say if I was chasing everything and I could go, it'd be duck because I got more opportunities of different species. So I'm not a hardcore one way or the other. As long as it's waterfowl, I'm good.
Elliott?
I'm ducks for sure.
Yeah, I'm ducks as well, but I mean, I think that I'm disappointed if I don't get on a few good goose hunts every year. So definitely love the greenheads. Getting limits of green is the highlight of the season, but you know, it's not a season if you don't get some limits of the geese as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And last slide, kind of a hot topic we've been having over in our Facebook group and just on the last couple podcasts as well. Another question we've been asking a lot of the guests recently, but what do you guys prefer as far as your choke? Do you go for the full or do you go for something wider?
I shoot modified at everything I shoot at. It's not about reaching out, working that bird in, getting it in the appropriate range to make a legal and ethical kill on it. And I like to watch them. I mean, if I can touch toes to dirt or water and shoot them at, less than 35 yards, I'm happy. If they're out there 45, 50, 60 yards, I'm not pulling the trigger. I'll let them circle a couple times and just watch. There's no point in educating them or wounding them or letting them fly away. So for me, I shoot mod 3-inch number 3s at everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Corey on that.
You shoot number 3s at geese as well?
All day long.
All right. And
well, a lot of the people we're talking to, and we're hearing more, that people are making the claim that they actually kill more birds with full in close than modify. And I keep pushing back against people on that because I find that to be just absolutely not mathematically accurate. But that's more and more people are saying is that I shoot full even at close because I want to be able to kill them. And I just, it seems like it's a modern buzz phrase in the community these days.
I would argue that they're probably killing more ducks, not because of the choke that they have in, because those are closer. I mean, you take the percentages of shooting birds at 60 yards and you back those birds in and work them really right and get them into 30, your percentage is going to go up. I mean, the chokes are designed to shoot the gun, and they've been tested through skeet and trap and target shooting and all that stuff for a reason. It has nothing to do with that you had a full choke in, so you killed the bird. It's that the bird was actually close enough to kill to start with.
Good point.
Yeah, and one thing I see a lot of people saying too is even they'll say they use the extended full. Like if we ask kind of like a choke question, some people say they use this choke for ducks and then they use extended full for geese. And I guess I'm not sure exactly why you'd need an extended full for geese opposed to
because they're wanting to shoot them at 70 yards, probably. That's why.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever killed anything at 70 yards. Not even like a deer. It's like it's a long shot for anything.
Not even a deer. Are you missing those 75 plus yard shots at deer? Or you just don't shoot them?
I've never shot that far.
Okay. With your bow hunting or what? You're not
even with shotgun, I've never shot that far at a deer.
You guys don't shoot. You guys don't use rifles.
We can, but I don't use one.
What, you use a slug or something?
Yeah, deer slug.
Okay.
They got rifling on the slug.
Okay.
This is a little off topic for us, but all right, that's the end of this or that. So let's jump back.
There has been a ton of questions that have been rolling through. I don't know what the official agenda is, but I know there's been a ton of questions that have been rolling through.
Do you want to save those for the end, or you want to jump into some of them now?
No, whatever you think.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about duck hunting now that we're through with talking about your waders, and kind of tell us a little bit about your duck hunting down in Texas.
I tend to think that Texas gets overlooked a lot. We offer such a wide variety of stuff. You go down to, let's start north and go south. You get down south, early season, down around Garwood, Katy, down in the rice prairie growing area. You get wads of blue wings early. You get green wingers and, gray ducks that hang out throughout the course of the season. As you progress, there's a little bit of the area there of the state that's actually pretty dry, so we don't get a whole lot of hunting in those areas. But then if you press out west, you get all the guys out west that kind of go from like the Midland, Odessa area, Haskell, Knox City. Those guys shoot tons and tons of geese, tons and tons of ducks. They're out there chasing them in the dry fields, just like you see up in North Dakota. But they're chasing them on peanut fields. You get towards northeast Texas where we're at. It just depends what you want to shoot that day. You can jump out and get onto some of our big reservoirs and chase divers out in 12 to 15 foot water or big open flats that are 5-6 foot deep. You can back up into the brush and shoot wood ducks and mallards. So that's one of the things I love about Texas is just our variety is anything you want. You pick what species you want to chase that day. A lot of guys say they're mallard purists, and I love stacking green up as much as anybody, but I also like to shoot birds when I go out to hunt. So what birds are here, I'm gonna target them and go after them as long as they're decent birds to eat when I get home.
Awesome. So no divers then?
I'll eat a canvasback every now. I'm not eating too many bluebills or ringnecks.
Gotcha. So how's your early teal season down in Texas?
Early teal is phenomenal if you go south. If you get down like kind of where I was saying, where we grow all the rice south of Houston, kind of in between. If you look at a map, there's Houston is like dead center southern state. And then you kind of, I guess you would direct yourself east towards Louisiana. That whole area down through 110 around Garwood, Katy, Beaumont, everybody grows rice down there, and you can get on early teal, blue wings. It's lights out. You're hitting wads. 75 upwards to 200 birds come through in a wad. So,
oh wow,
it's nice that they up the limit a little bit, because when it was only 3, it was 70, and 7 or 8 hit the water. Everybody else's hunt is done, and you pulled one shot. So,
so what is the limit now?
I think they moved it up to 4 finally, so we can get a whole lot of them.
Is it?
And we've got early goose like y'all do. There's certain areas of the state that really have some resident geese. We're lucky. Northeast Texas has quite a few. We got a bunch that hang out around that Texas-Oklahoma line. The Panhandle gets some as well, and a lot of those birds stemmed from just people putting them out at farm ponds and city parks, and nobody hunted them forever. And then the population has over exploded. And now we've got, wads of, family groups of, anywhere from 7 or 8 to 40 floating around all day long. You really got to know and do your homework and figure out where they're at.
Awesome. What's your limit for teal, Elliott?
We moved up to 6 within the last 2 or 3 years. We'd been 4 for years and years, and they popped it up to 6. I think three years ago they moved it to 6, which is really nice.
6 as well, and I was just curious because we don't have a ton, and you guys have a ton in Texas, but your limit's down to 4, so it seemed kind of peculiar for sure on that.
Yeah, and they actually may have moved it to 6 last year or this year. I just haven't looked up on it yet. I'll when I buy my license here in the next 4 days, I'll get the book and make sure I'm up to date on the limits this season, because they change it almost yearly. We're kind of like Elliott. We've got zones, and so depending on what zone you're in, it's how many birds you can shoot. So
those teal must really migrate far, because like right now we're just starting to see a few teal in the state, but we can have really, really low numbers clear up until the opener, like on the 8th. But for you guys to be getting a bunch of them down there, when they pour in, they must really, because I mean, either that or they're flying over. Because I'm thinking, okay, if they're not hardly here September 1st, but yet they're clear down in Texas on the 8th, they must really, some of them must really move.
Yeah, I mean, it can go from watching a spot and having, just enough to almost start thinking about getting excited. You got 10, 20, 30 birds hitting it, and then you come out the next morning and there's 400 of them in your ice field. And then they just keep multiplying, and they're here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they're gone. We have some stragglers that hang out, through October, but most of the time they're here pretty heavy and they're here pretty thick for 2-3 week time frame, maybe a month, and then they're on down the road, because we don't. By the time big duck season gets through, if you're shooting blue wings, you're surprised.
Yeah, for us, it's like the first weekend of teal season's about 90% blue wing, and then it drops to like about 60% blue wing the second weekend, then about 50, but then it holds that between blue wing and green wing. And then it holds about that number clear through, like when we have the early zone opener towards the beginning of October, we're still shooting mostly blue wing and green wing. But then a couple weeks later, they're just, I mean, the blue wing are all just gone.
Yep.
I've never shot a green wing during early teal season, so hopefully I get one of these times. So Justin, you going out on those early teal hunts and goose hunts as well?
Yeah, that's a killer time for me as far as my workload. So past 2 years I haven't been out as much as I'd like, but this season, getting a little bit more video footage and stuff like that. This season we're going to be doing. I'm gonna get out there a little bit more.
Awesome.
So you guys gonna be filming your hunts this year?
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. We got a couple of really creative videos we got coming out over the next probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be putting out some teasers this year that kind of going to be showcasing more product highlight than anything, but it'll give you a really good taste of what Jason's able to do in editing, and we're definitely excited about moving some of this stuff in house that we're doing. We've got, I think, 4 hunts lined up right now, and for anybody listening, we're always looking for more. So just throw them our way, and we'll see if we can squeeze it in the schedule.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I guess I guess we probably should jump into some of these questions and see how many we can get through. So I actually got some right here. And Laser asks, are the breathable waders louder than neoprene, as in the fabric gonna make more noise when moving around?
I mean, it's a tightly woven polyester exterior shell. So, I mean, it's a 4-layer polyester. So, I mean, naturally it is going to have a little bit more noise, but honestly, it's the areas where you will be hearing a lot more brush. It's that 900 denier polyester. So it's that Cordura, it's that abrasion resistant Gator. So that is going to muffle it a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit quieter. Neoprene obviously will be quieter, but not by much. I mean, not enough to make a difference.
Once Blind Outdoors, he's got a couple questions, but one of them, he wants to know, do you guys have a YouTube? I'm assuming for finding those hunt videos.
Yes. Just look up Gator Waders on YouTube. It's fairly a fairly young channel, but we have some pretty decent content on there. And like I said, over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll be loading that channel up. That's something we're really active on this season. Because video, I mean, just seeing the product in action is going to be the best way for you to see how durable and how much abuse we put these things through sometimes. So yeah, definitely check us out on YouTube. Just Gator Waders is our YouTube tag.
Yeah, we've got a video up right now on geared towards ATV. But one of the guys in the video is wearing our breathable waders, but in our waist wader model. And I mean, you can see him covered in head to toe, slopping through, thigh deep mud and rocks and gravel. And they're just getting it.
And that day, it was actually, I think it got up to 102 degrees that day. So he just had some basketball short. As you can tell in the video, if you watch it, he's not wearing a shirt. His shirt got pretty muddy right off the bat. But no, the breathable waders, the uninsulated, I mean, they're a lifesaver in the warmer temps for sure.
Awesome. Once Blind as well asked, do you wear uninsulated versus insulated breathable waders in order to layer up?
That's a personal preference.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, I only get to hunt a little bit later in the season, so obviously insulated is going to be better. For those guys, especially down south that hunt early season and hunt all season, the uninsulated version is a good way to go, just because you can obviously layer up underneath, but it's hard to take layers out. But I will say with the insulated version, it's that thermal cotton. It's really versatile. So I mean, unless you're, obviously early teal season, I would recommend some waist waders or something like that. But the insulated is not going to be as toasty as a pair of neoprene. But that's my personal preference.
I go with insulated. I mean, in early teal for Texas, you're used to sweating. So if I'm wearing waders and not just some tennis shoes and old shorts, then I always go insulated because I'm hot. So.
All right. SWMP. I don't know what this guy's name is. SWM. I'll just go with that.
He's been around a long time. I'll say that.
Yeah. I don't know how to actually say his
Swamp
name.
Swamp Lover.
Oh, okay. He didn't spell it though. It's just like
SW. There's no vowels. Took all the vowels out.
All right, I got it. Anyways, are the wader boots true to size? Have any form of extra inserts in the bottom?
They do fit fairly true to size. For me, I prefer a much snugger fit in the boot. I mean, especially with it being a 1,600 gram thinsulate boot, I don't layer up much in the socks, just because, I mean, naturally being a little bit bigger, I don't need as much layers. So with me, I wear a 10.5 wide tennis shoe, and the 10s fit me fantastic. But that's my personal preference. I prefer every part of my foot to be hugged by the boots. That's a little bit of a abnormal answer, but that's my personal preference, if that helps with the answer. But I mean, they fit fairly true to size. If you're, and that's one thing about our waders is we do even sizes. So we'll do 8, 10, 12, 14, something like that. But we form the ankle of the boot to fit a little bit tighter. So if you do decide to get a little bit larger boot to give yourself room to layer up.
Oh, might have lost him there.
Your ankle it's still going to hold your foot.
Alrighty. Steve asked, what is the Gator Wader price range?
Breathable is going to start off at the waist waders at around 250, and then top end for your insulated breathable full chest waders 319.
So if you go back, so the price range is from 220 to 320, pretty much.
Okay. And Once Blind asks, what is the warranty?
The warranty is it's a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, like most. And basically that's a fantastic question. Basically our warranty, it covers anything that we can control. So the construction of the wader, the material of the wader, in the features of the wader. So obviously if you go out there and you find some barbed wire and you tear a big hole in the leg, obviously that wouldn't be considered a warranty issue. It's not a defect in the product itself. But one thing you will see with Gator Waders more than any other company out there is when you have an issue with your product, whether it's covered under warranty or not, you will be treated as if you are our only customer. And we handle with the utmost priority, especially during season. We understand, time is of the essence. So that's one thing we pride ourselves on, our customer service. So if you have an issue, every single wader is serviceable. We have repair options for almost any kind of damage. Obviously, if you tear half your wader off, I would recommend you get another pair. But if you have a couple little snags in it for whatever reason, we do include patch kits with some of these. We do offer patch kits on our website as well, because obviously, incidents do happen. But as far as the material itself, I mean, it's extremely durable. We've had some guys lean up against the tailpipe of their four-wheeler and burn their leg, and the wader still be in good condition. So I mean, as far as the durability, I have no doubt that it's going to withstand some of the most extreme conditions. But as far as the warranty is concerned, I mean, we stand behind our product 100%. So
yeah, and like Jason mentioned, I mean, our waders are serviceable. We have an agreement with a second party company that provides any repairs that need to be done. And we extend that to all of our customers if it's not a manufacturing defect and something that's out of our control.
All right. And we got a couple people asking, how warm do the breathable waders keep you?
I hunted mine last year. We had a big freeze in Texas. It was an extended freeze. I mean, most of the time we get cold where we're at specifically, hunting on a day-to-day basis. Last year I hunted mine for 3 days straight in sub-teen weather. We're talking about air temperatures of 2 to 4 degrees, upwards of 3 to 4 inches of ice. And all I wore underneath them was a solid set of thermals and a fleece wader pant or jogging pant, basically. So I'm pretty hot natured, so I can't say that that's going to stand the for everybody, but all I wore sock wise was I tend to go really thin socks, baby powder, and then some good solid merino wool socks, not very thick, and then powder up again, and I stayed warm in sub-teen water, up to mid-thigh hunting flooded stuff for till 10, 11 o'clock every day.
Turkey Butt Junior.
Turkey Butt Junior. Come on at it, boy.
I love it.
You offer more than waders, like jackets and gloves.
Absolutely.
New for 2018, we released our Scout Series gloves. It's a fantastic decoy glove. It's a water resistant glove. It's submersible up to 15, 20 seconds. Obviously, we don't recommend anybody just hold their hand underwater, but they are fleece lined from the wrist up. So it's a very warm. It's made of the same breathable material as our waders, so it's extremely durable, and they're extremely comfortable. So we do offer the gloves. We just released our Everglade 2.0 boots.
Yep.
So for you guys who hunt the fields and stuff like that, we have them in marsh and our hardwoods. So hardwoods are great for you guys who hunt some deer as well. But the boots themselves, they're solid colors. So we have them in the marsh is like a tan and brown. And we do this just because every guy out there, they have their own camo preference. Some guys prefer Realtree, some guys prefer mossy oak, and some guys prefer nat gear, and so on and so forth. So we do a little bit more of the neutral colors so that those guys who want to match and stuff like that, it works with any camo out there. But the boots themselves, man, I can't talk enough about those.
Those are highlighted on the video series and on YouTube. You can check out those boots. We've got our bog hoodies as well that just released this year in a hunting pattern and color. We've got them in like an olive drab and a Max 5. That's a full 100% waterproof jacket. Contoured hood, quarter zip, waterproof zippers, fleece lined front pockets, $140.
They have fleece lined chest warmer pockets up top too. So they work really well with the waders, whether you wear them inside or outside of your waders. They just that micro fleece liner up top. It's extremely comfortable when you're out hunting those deeper waters and stuff. And to keep your hands high and dry.
And we're only going to take a few more questions, guys. But Kyle asked, can you remove the insulation?
No, that's something we've thought about, in the past. Honestly, that's why we offered it in insulated or uninsulated. But it's just it's one of those things where it's a great concept. But everybody's a little bit different. Everybody takes care of their stuff different, and we've just learned over the years that the less removable parts on a wader, the more we can secure that wader and guarantee that longevity of the product. So
functionality wise, it's just another fail point that you can have, and we want to assure everyone that going out there, you don't have 2 or 3 extra points where, hey, You could hang this getting your foot in or out and not know it, and you've stretched your waders too much, and now you've got a weak point in your protection between you and the elements. So we've opted not to do that. It's either uninsulated or insulated. You can choose which one you want.
All right. And Once Blind is asking if you guys are an online store only.
No.
We obviously we do a lot of online. Our online store is the main point, but we have a fantastic dealer base all over the nation. I mean, we stretch as far as Moscow. We have a huge Canada base as well. Capital Waterfowl up in Canada, they take care of all of our Canada guys. But you check us out on our website. You'll see the retailers tab about halfway down the page, or in our menu. But we have retailers all over the nation. So if you guys want to try some on, just reach out. They are divided up from our hunt and our off-road division. So we do have guys who just carry our off-road waders and some guys who just carry our hunt, or both. So that they are organized in that sense on there as well. But
yeah, we got a bunch of brick and mortar stores, and they're all up on the website. And then to touch back, obviously we also t-shirts, hats, any kind of just gear that you'd wear out casually, not just hunting or ATV riding.
All right. We got a couple people asking if you guys have any discounts right now.
That's we have campaigns running all season, and honestly, I don't have that schedule right here in front of me, but I know we just our Shield Series waders our Shield Series and Shadow Series waders were at a show special that actually ended Sunday. Honestly, I just recommend keep up with us on our social media. We do flash sales all the time. A few sale items. Obviously, we have some clearance items and stuff as well. But I would definitely recommend just keep up with us on social media, because, like I said, our sales come and go. They come and go really quick. So keep up with us. You'll get to take advantage of that.
If you're following on social media, whether that's Facebook or just the web page, like Jason was saying, our show specials just ended because of our season for doing expos and events. But you could have picked up our insulated, breathable, top of the line wader for $280 versus $320. So you could have saved yourself $40 just by basically following us online.
Keep up as well. We're doing a huge giveaway here in a couple of weeks. We got a lot of really, really great partners that are partnering up with us. So we got a combination of a bunch of products, basically get everybody completely geared up. So definitely follow up with us on that.
Awesome. And last question, Kyle wants to know how to store the waders over the off season, and how to clean them. And he wants to know if it's with a power washer.
No, I wouldn't recommend a power. The construction of the wader itself, it does have that glue. It does have glue, and it has seal tape, and the material is, especially the neoprenes and stuff, the camo jersey on the exterior of the wader, obviously it's heat sealed down. But power washing after being exposed to several seasons and stuff like that, you can separate that. So honestly, it's as simple as just spray it down with a water hose, maybe a soft bristle brush for some of the thicker mud and stuff like that. But I personally just hang them up on the edge of your fence, or, I got a little pole in my garage, just hang them up, spray them off, wipe them down, let them hang for about a day. And then I fold them up and put them in a bag and just keep them in my garage. Obviously don't put them in a bag wet, because obviously, during off season it can mildew and stuff, but make sure they're completely dry. I'll tuck them in a bag just to kind of trap a little bit of the moisture, just the natural humidity, just kind of keeps the rubber in the boot hydrated. And honestly, I'm going on about 6.5 years on mine. So
yeah, I've been running the breathables for 2.5 years. At the end of every season, or every time I use them, and I know they're for a little bit, spray them down with a water hose, rub the mud off of them. I don't necessarily wash them or anything like that. Just clean them off, make sure there's no caked on mud or dirt or rocks or anything. I hang mine upside down in my rack, and they stay there until the next time I put them on. They've been in my garage for 2.5 years, and I hadn't had a problem.
It's as simple as the waders are going to last as long as you let them. So if you take care of your stuff, I mean, you treat your waders like you do your gun. You know, you make sure that it's clean, it's oiled up, all that stuff. I mean, it's going to last as long as you let it. So some of these guys, they'll throw it in the bed of their truck all season during off season and let it bake in the sun, and then wonder why, you know, it's failing halfway through the next season. You know, you don't take care of it, it's not going to last. But
yeah, I mean, it's just like any other tool for fowl hunting. You know, you clean your gun when you get done, you oil it, you wash your decoys off, and you throw them in the back of your truck, and then hang them up at the end of the year. So just take care of the tool, and the tool will take care of you.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right. Well, that's all we got for tonight, guys. Appreciate Gator Waders coming on and talking duck hunting with us and talking about your guys' awesome products. So go ahead and let the people know where they can find you on social and the internet.
Yeah, GatorWaders.com, and on Instagram it's Gator Waders for our off-road division, or Gator Waders Hunt for our hunt division. YouTube channel Gator Waders. For all you guys listening, we do have a promotional code right now. So if you do Duck Gun 10 at GatorWaders.com, offer you guys 10% off. So just as a token of appreciation for you guys having us and the listeners listening in. So
yep.
Thank
You
you.
can get on there, get you one of these new hats,
Those are
get
cool.
you some waders.
Sweet deal. Anything else you got to add, Elliott?
No, it's just been, you know, I've had some questions answered that I've been wondering for a long time. So thank you guys so much for coming on and talking about your product. It was really informative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. We appreciate the invite for sure.
All right, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for next week. We got Outdoor Limits coming on. Is that next week, Elliott?
Yeah, next week we got Outdoor Limits, Josh from Outdoor Limits. Yep.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
See y'all guys later.
Guys.